For about 4.5 billion years, our planet has been spinning. It's this constant, silent hum in the background of our lives that we totally take for granted. But what if it just stopped? Today, we're going to dive into that frankly terrifying hypothetical. And trust me, the consequences are way more extreme than you can probably imagine. So, to really get a handle on what would happen, you first need to understand the incredible speed we're talking about. Right now, if you're near the equator, you are whipping through space at about 1,000 miles per hour. That's over 1,600 kilometers per hour, faster than the speed of sound. We just don't feel it because everything else, the air, the oceans, the ground, is moving right along with us. It sounds like something from a summer blockbuster, right? But the science behind it is it's absolutely mind-bending. So let's ask the question. What happens if that incredible velocity suddenly goes from 1,000 miles an hour down to zero? Well, the very first moments would be catastrophic. We're talking about an immediate planet-wide whiplash effect. It wouldn't be a slow disaster. It would be an instantaneous, physics-breaking event on a global scale. And the reason for all this instant destruction? It comes down to one of the most basic rules of physics, inertia. You know, the whole an object in motion stays in motion thing? The solid Earth might screech to a halt, but everything that's not bolted down to its core, and that means you, me, buildings, oceans, even the atmosphere, would keep right on going. To really feel this, try this analogy. It's not like hitting the brakes in a car. It's like being in a car going 1,000 miles an hour and hitting a solid brick wall. Everything on the surface would be flung eastward at supersonic speeds, instantly flattened and scoured from the land. And it's not just the solid stuff. The atmosphere itself, because of its own inertia, would keep rushing forward. This would create these unimaginable supersonic winds more powerful than the shockwave from any nuclear bomb ever detonated. They would literally strip the topsoil from the continents and obliterate anything that somehow managed to survive that initial jolt. So once that initial, incredibly violent chaos is over, the planet would start to settle. But it wouldn't be our planet anymore. The entire geography of the world would be redrawn, all because our oceans would begin this massive, world-altering migration. You see, right now, our oceans are in a constant cosmic tug-of-war. The planet's spin creates a centrifugal force that makes the water bulge out around the equator. It's what gives us our current sea levels. But if the spin stops, that force just vanishes, and gravity becomes the undisputed champion, pulling all of that water towards the only places it can go. The poles. The result would be a world map that is completely unrecognizable. You'd have two enormous oceans, one at each pole, probably miles deep. And with all that water gone from the middle, a brand new single megacontinent would rise up, encircling the entire planet right around the equator. And if a completely new map of the world wasn't weird enough for you, our whole idea of day and night would just be gone. The planet would become this place of absolute extremes. We're talking 6 months of nonstop, scorching sunlight, followed by 6 months of bone-chilling darkness. Think about it. Our 24-hour day exists only because the Earth rotates. Now, the planet is still orbiting the sun, so if it stops spinning, one side would face the sun for 6 straight months. Then, as it continues its orbit, the other side would get its turn. One single day would now last 365 of our days, 1 year. Can you even imagine the sun-facing side? For 6 months straight, it would be blasted by unrelenting solar radiation. Temperatures would skyrocket to well past the boiling point of water, turning the landscape into a scorched, sterile desert. Meanwhile, the dark side would be just as lethal. It would be plunged into a 6-month-long night, and without any sunlight to warm it, temperatures would plummet into a deep, deep freeze, locking everything in ice. So let's recap. The surface has been scoured clean, the oceans are at the poles, and the climate is an absolute nightmare of fire and ice. But wait, there's more. There's one final blow that would take down Earth's single most important defense system. Our planet has this amazing, invisible shield, a magnetic field, and it's generated by something called the dynamo effect. Basically, the spinning of the Earth churns up the molten iron in its core, and that motion creates the magnetic field. It's a beautiful system, but it relies on one thing: rotation. No rotation, no dynamo. It would trigger this awful domino effect. The Earth stops spinning, the molten core stops churning, the dynamo effect fails, the magnetic shield collapses, and just like that, our planet is completely defenseless against a constant barrage of deadly radiation from the sun.
And without that shield, the sun's solar wind would slowly but surely strip away what's left of our atmosphere and any water vapor. Over time, Earth would become a dry, barren, irradiated world, looking an awful lot like its neighbor, Mars.
So after this absolute cascade of planetary destruction, you have to ask the question, after all of that, in this terrifying new version of Earth, is there any way something, anything, could survive? I mean, when you think about it, the whiplash, the winds, the moving oceans, the extreme temperatures, the lethal radiation, the odds just look completely, totally impossible for life as we know it. And yeah, for complex life, for us, the answer is a hard no. It's just not survivable. But there's a tiny sliver of hope. Some scientists think that microscopic life, so-called extremophiles that live deep underground, maybe near volcanic vents, shielded from all the chaos on the surface, they might just be able to hang on. Okay, so before you start having nightmares about this, let's bring it all back down to Earth. The good news is this isn't going to happen. The Earth is actually slowing down thanks to the gravitational pull of the moon, but it's only by about 1.7 milliseconds every century. So yeah, we are safe for billions and billions of years. And that's really the big takeaway from a thought experiment like this. It reminds us that the Earth's spin, this thing we never even notice, is one of the silent, steady, absolutely crucial forces that makes our world a living, breathing, and habitable place. It's a force we never feel, but it's the reason our oceans stay where they are, the reason we have a protective atmosphere, and the reason we can count on the sun rising every single morning, right on schedule. This whole thing really makes you think, doesn't it? The Earth's rotation is just one of these massive, invisible systems running in the background. It kind of makes you wonder, what other incredible, invisible forces are out there, quietly working every second of every day to keep our world alive?